We're live. Just me and Paul today, as you guys can see. Coach Hack is he's got some other things going on this morning, so he won't join us this morning. I'm still in Bakersfield. This is a great time of year for Bakersfield, Paul. It gets like 40 and 50 degrees at night. So, you run around with a hoodie and shorts in the morning, and then about 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock, you got to take that hoodie off because it's up to 70 degrees again and feeling warm. And then at night, you grab that hoodie and put it back on again.
That sounds an awful lot like maybe what the weather was on Saturday in Kinnick, in a wonderful game day, environment, and a big win for the Hawkeyes.
Oh, huge win. Much needed win after the 3-game losing streak. And we all felt, I think everybody felt that this was a very winnable game because Northwestern this year, not always, but this year was the worst team in the West. And that's proving. And I'm beginning to think, how in the world did they beat Nebraska?
Well, those crazy things happen early in the season, but hey, you know how I like to celebrate wins over Northwestern?
How do you like to celebrate wins over Northwestern?
Well, I like to melt purple Scentsy products, right? And so right here we've got our is black raspberry vanilla and a beautiful purple and white casing, and it's actually even purple wax. And so this stuff smells really good. It's got a super fresh scent, and so I implore anybody who's watching this, click the link at the bottom there or copy and paste it into a browser. Check out Terry's Facebook page. Check out the links on our Hawkeye page. Get you some amazing smell fresh Scentsy. There's some great holiday specials out there. Terry's got some holiday packages and things like that. They make great gifts, great stocking stuffers. I know if you buy in bundles and kits, you save money. So get the smells for the people in your life that you love, both the smells and the people. So check out Terry's page.
Paul, one thing we want to point out is how we type that out, starting with the https //TerryScentsy.us/ that all needs to be put in if you want to get straight to Terry's site. If you drop that other stuff and just go TerryScentsy.us, you're going to get to a Scentsy site, but it won't be Terry's, and Terry won't get credit for it for your order.
Good call out.
So I've tried it a couple different ways, and the only way to get to her site, and she did point this out at the beginning, was to type it exactly as we typed it out here. So
anyway, check it out, guys. For real, the women in your life will love it. For all the women who are watching, you'll love it. So check it out. It makes great gifts, makes great products of stuff that I guarantee. You already have candles, you already have cleaners, you have soaps, you have hand soaps, you have dish soaps, you have dryer sheets, you have all of these things already in your home. Just get them from a Hawkeye fan.
There you go. All right, Paul. So finally, Petrus is a serviceable quarterback the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jared. Yeah, you made it on, buddy. We appreciate you being here. So he's serviceable. He goes to 10 for 30? 21 for 30.
Yeah.
And 220 yards. And sadly, he misses 8 passes or 9 passes. 4 of those were dropped after they got into the receiver's hands. These receivers had those. They're going to hang on to those when they get those in their hands. I don't care. And, that just made, Spencer's good day look even not as great as it could have been. Just think that those guys if they haul in those 4 passes, how great his day looks.
Yeah. Well, that, and, he threw a couple away, that were great throwaways where he, avoided a sack or avoided a red zone turnover. So, Jared's asking for an overall grade for Petrus. For me, he was an A. He did exactly what Iowa needed of him to do in this football game. I thought you have to grade Spencer on the offense that he's being asked to run and the efficiency in which he ran it on Saturday. He made the makeables. He put the ball in places where his guys could catch the football. He made good decisions. He showed pocket awareness. He even showed a slight bit of elusiveness in the pocket. That little shovel pass to Potabom was nice. He avoided a sack at one point and ended up with like a 2-yard gain. Overall, if you understand that he's not Brad Banks or he's not certain people, and you just say, okay, for Spencer, that was a really well-played game. And for Brian, I thought it was a well-called game.
Yeah, honestly, it everything fell into place like it needed to. And, yeah, I'm giving Spencer an A for this, too, because Spencer has never asked to be some of those Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers. He's never been asked to do that. He just asked to be a serviceable game manager, and that's what he did. And finally, the pieces around it came there. But I think part of it had to do with he finally found people like Brett. The Vines kid. Vines dropped a couple of great passes, though. One was a touchdown. And Arlen Bruce. These guys finally got involved more than they usually do, Lachey got a touchdown pass, which is, Lachey is going to be our next great tight end after Laporta leaves. By the way, Laporta led the team in receptions again. So, that didn't change. Laporta is still his favorite target, but you could see that one of the reasons why Laporta was he was double teamed a lot. Did you notice that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, teams are going to try to take him away. He's the one legit passing threat that they fear. And yeah, I'm with Jared on this. Absolutely. I love, we haven't gotten into a lot of those situations. We were kind of chatting, in our group chat, either it was before the game or during the game. Because I think it was actually before the game. I was watching the Ohio State Penn State game, and they had brought out the chains to measure for a first down in that football game. And it kind of dawned on me, when was the last time they brought the chains out during an Iowa game? We just haven't been in a lot of 3rd and inches, 4th and inches situations where we could go fast and Spencer could just run up there and sneak that bad boy.
Right. Although, did you see that pissed off Fitzgerald because he was trying to get a timeout and smart thinking for the Hawkeyes to get up to the line quickly and call that and get it done before Northwestern realized what was going on.
Right. Well, and again, I mean that's been a staple the last few years. Especially when Stanzi was quarterback. If we could get into a 1 yard or less situation. Especially with Linderbaum, it was real easy to just, hey, let's just go, run it right behind Linderbaum and get a quick, easy first down.
Yeah.
But the one thing I didn't like, and I continue to dislike, is that Spencer's got a big arm. We just don't ever ask him to use it. Now, I don't know if it's because we're not confident that we can block long enough to let a deep shot develop, or if we're running the routes and they're not there because you can't always see it on TV. I don't know if Spencer just refuses to take the shot when it is there. I don't know what it is, but we're making offense harder than it has to be, because if you have zero threat at any time that we're going to throw the ball past 10 yards, then the defense has zero need to defend past 10 yards. That makes it harder to run the football. That makes it harder to complete the short passes because, the defense has no threat that we're even going to try to go over the top.
Yeah. So that I agree with because I do believe they showed a stat that he did target 4. I don't know if he completed how many of those he completed. He did target 4 over 20 yards.
Okay, I don't recall that, but okay.
Yeah, it's a stat. It's a stat that they threw up on the screen. I wasn't really paying attention. Let's just put it this way: Fran Tarkington years ago, as the Vikings quarterback, made a career out of short passes.
Sure.
And they said that's the reason why he got all the yards he made, because he wasn't throwing deep; he was just throwing a lot of little dinking passes.
Yeah.
And he made a career out of that. And so, it's possible you don't always have to take the deep shot to keep your defense honest.
Well, and Northwestern's driven us crazy for the last 15 years, dinking and dunking on us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that our defense has always kind of traditionally, I don't want to say gave up, but, we've always been kind of, we'll let you complete a 4-yard pass and come up and hit you.
Mm-hmm.
And make you pay the price kind of thing.
Yeah.
We'll let you 4-yard nickel and dime us to all day to death, but you're not going to beat us with a one play 80-yard pass.
Yeah, and that's the problem when teams start dinking and dunking, they can move the ball down on field on Iowa because they're just waiting for you to make a mistake or for them to get a turnover or something on that dink and dunk stuff. But yeah, teams have figured that out that if you're patient enough against Iowa's defense, you could dink and dunk your way downfield. Iowa State did it, with their 99-yard drive. Nothing major, because Iowa likes to keep everything in front of them. So
I want to respond to Jared real quick.
Go ahead, go for it, buddy.
He seems good with play action. I'm going to say he seemed good with play action on Saturday, and a lot of that was because we were having success running the football. And I would have liked to have seen us since he was doing well with play action. We had a couple of second and short plays, 2nd and 1 would have been a great time to use some play action and throw the ball down the field. And I'm wondering, Dean, that graphic that you said that they put up about Spencer being 0 for 4 on the deeper passes, that was probably for the season, right? That wouldn't have been during the game Saturday. I don't
know. Maybe Jared remembers that graphic and what they were talking about,
because
it's just something that they threw up there real quick, and I'm not always listening to the announcers, but I did see the graphic and I just thought that was kind of a funny graphic. I don't remember. I will be rewatching the game, and I don't remember him going for 20 yards because I think the biggest play of the day belonged to Arlen Bruce, and he went 20 plus yards on a run.
Right. Well, and I recall us hitting, say, like a 13 or 16-yard pass.
Right.
Which by our standards seems to be a long ball. But again, I totally get, if you want to throw something down the field, you have to block long enough to facilitate such a play.
Right.
And to this point this season, we haven't really had that. Overall, I thought Petrus played really well. He got everybody involved. Everybody got touches. I thought the game plan was really well thought out. There was stuff that nobody wants to, again, when stuff works, play calling is great, right? And when stuff doesn't work, well, Brian's an idiot. That's I guess that's just the nature of the beast. But
what bothered me the most is I was listening to Sound Off with WHO with Ross Peterson and Travis, whatever Travis' last name is. Because anyway, I was listening to him. The amount of callers who were still mad. They weren't even happy about the win. They were still mad because they didn't see what they needed to see in this game, and that this is a one-time wonder. It's Northwestern. Wait till we get to Purdue and Minnesota and Wisconsin. They're gonna kick our butt. And how many people thought we'd won our last game of the season?
How many times has just Northwestern come into Kinnick and beat us? Didn't they? We hadn't beat them at home since like 2015 or something, is what I thought I heard. And granted, this isn't the best iteration of Northwestern that we've seen. I get that, but they're still a Big Ten team, and you still have to go out and do it, right? I mean, we couldn't do it against an FCS opponent to start the year.
Who, by the way, is number one over there in the FCS, whatever you call it.
Right. And Iowa State, I think they might still be a top 10 defense. The fact of the matter is, I mean, Iowa State's a top 10 defense. Illinois is they might be number one.
They're number one.
Michigan's a top 10 defense. Ohio State's a top 10 defense. And then, rounding out, I mean, Iowa's in there with a top 10 defense, but, it's like, it's not like we've lost to a bunch of Northwesterns this year. We're playing teams with a good defense, and that it's kind of crazy to say this, but the schedule actually, it doesn't get easier from Northwestern, but it, right. Thank you, Jared. Yes. Yeah. No, and you're exactly right. I don't listen to a lot of post-game shows. I try not to anyway, if because everybody's super emotional, right? Mm-hmm. And, if Iowa wins, well, they should have won by 50. Brian still sucks. I mean, they did what they were supposed to do within the confines of what we do, the way we play defense, the way we run our offense. A lot of things have to happen for Iowa to put a 50 burger up like they did against Ohio State. I mean, what was the stat too that Iowa scored on like 7 of their first 8 possessions or something on Saturday?
Not first 8. They only had 8 possessions.
Oh, they only had 8 possessions.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
That is Iowa football, guys. Take the ball, grind it out, be patient, and move it downfield. Burning up clock, burning up plays. That's Iowa football. They only gave, I think, Northwestern only had like 6 possessions or something out of that. Or 7. Maybe they had 7 possessions themselves. I don't know. I know they were 1 behind us because of a turnover.
Right. And like in a situation like that, for Iowa to have put up 50 plus points, they would have had to have scored a touchdown every time they had the football. Literally. I mean, 8 possessions, 7 times 8, 56, Mm-hmm. So to get in the 50s, they would have needed, an Ohio State-like offensive performance. And if anybody thinks that that's coming for under any circumstances, well, you become a fan of a different team. Right.
3 touchdowns and 4 field goals. And I want to say Drew Stevens hitting from 54 yards out. I don't know if anybody picked up on this, but he had a 3 from the logo.
Right. There we go. 3 from
Oh, keeping up with J-Bo and Caitlin Clark.
That's right. No, that was incredible. And it didn't hit the crossbar. In fact, from what I could tell, it looked like the ball hit the net. So that tells
Bruce
me
said
that
in an interview, he said it barely crossed over the bar.
Okay. So
I don't know. I mean, on TV it looked bigger than that. Like he could have hit it from 60 easily. If it looked that good to me, but he said that it just crawled over the bar is how he put it.
Jared wants us to grade the coaching and the play calling.
Hello? Did we lose Paul?
No, I'm here.
Still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Anyway, Jared, you want us to grade the coaches, and that's what Paul was getting ready to say. I actually going to give the coaches on this play calling. Paul, you back?
I've never left.
Okay. All right, Paul, go ahead. I was going to take over that question, but since you started it, I'll let you be the one to answer it.
All right, so coaching, I'm going to say A. I mean, what they did exactly what needed to be done. They looked good. Play calling, again, that's one of those things when stuff works, you're a play calling genius. When stuff doesn't work, you're terrible. I thought the play calling was fine. I'd give it a B plus, if only because the only things that was missing, and I posted this on Facebook. We get into the fourth quarter and we had our entire team of backups on defense in. But we couldn't find a single, snap for Padilla or May or Labas or anybody else on offense. And not because Spencer wasn't doing well, but because, we just haven't had the opportunities this year to get guys some snaps and situations where good things could happen. So I'll give the coaches a B plus, and that's the only reason why. I would have liked to have seen a pass go over 20 yards, and I would have liked to have seen QB2 or QB3 get in there late in the game.
Yeah, I want to and Jared agrees with you on the snaps. I would like to have seen that first Northwestern touchdown be defended a little more. It looked like they were allowing them to dink and dunk down the field on us, and the second one was a garbage time.
Against all the backups. It was all twos in there at that point.
Yeah. So I'm not even going to go that one because that happens because there's first teamers going against our backups. And so they dinked and dunked on the second one too, but that was garbage time touchdown, so those don't count.
Yeah. Well,
but that first one kind of bothered me a little bit. And you saw that on our group chat that I was, and that's when I got started. Coach called me negative for that. But I got mad that we allowed that.
Well, that was just the result of basically a turnover. The one time we actually had to punt on Saturday,
Oh, it was a bad punt. Oh, yeah, 16-yard punt or something.
Yeah, which, sadly still would have been the longest pass we threw all day, but that's okay. It was still what amounted to being a turnover. We gave Northwestern, scoring just like against Ohio State, how many times where we were giving them point blank range. It's tough. Those guys are on scholarship too. Everybody wants to make, it's just Northwestern. Those guys are on scholarship and they're all smarter than we are too.
Right. So the deal with Northwestern, and maybe we can hit on that a little bit. Yes, Jared, we know it was a muff punt. We all watched it. The thing with Northwestern is when they've got a great quarterback, a good quarterback who can run the team, they're usually pretty good, and they usually have pretty solid positions. Like, you talked about how scared you were of that Hall kid. Yeah, because he could catch and run, and he proved it. I mean, we didn't give up a lot to him, but he proved that he was as advertised.
Yeah, no, Evan Hull is, he probably started Iowa. He'd start at a lot of Big Ten teams. He probably wouldn't start for Illinois this year. He probably wouldn't start for Michigan. Probably not starting at Ohio State, not starting at Minnesota.
Yeah,
but he'd be starting just about anywhere else in the Big Ten, and I think he'll probably play on Sundays. We have a really good set of backs in the Big Ten this year.
Right.
As we usually.
Yeah, we do. That and I always had to play against most of them.
Yeah.
So I kind of lost my train of thought here, but Northwestern in their best years, but they don't usually have backups.
Right.
Where Iowa's starting to build depth. It took Iowa a while to start building depth. As we'd have those special seasons, and then we'd be down a little bit, and then as our depth got a little bit better and our kids got a little older, we'd have another special season. We didn't usually put back-to-back special seasons. Well, I took Iowa time, and now they've started to show that, even though we're having not a typical Iowa season like we like, they are showing that the depth pays off when injuries happen. Well, Northwestern is, I think Pat Fitzgerald said it Saturday, he's got the pieces in place, but he needs backups. He needs to do a better job of recruiting backups. And he does. I don't think he feels like his second stringers are going to get the job done.
Well, I feel like to that point, our offensive line, we're playing 5 backups as far as I'm concerned. I mean, these are guys that they shouldn't. They're really not. They're not what we would expect to be putting out there. They'd be great as a second team line, and I I I think that's really the guys who are supposed to be our second string offensive line are playing as starters this year.
Mhm.
And
Well,
so,
and that's because I think the oldest person on the line is sophomore.
right.
Well, they do throw a junior out there. He was back up, but I think he actually started this week for the first time. What did you think of the O-line shakeup this week? Because you noticed it about halfway through the first quarter. You mentioned it that they've changed the O-line up a little bit, and
Yeah, I mean, Colby's not a tackle. We know that now, right? I mean, we've
right.
kind of known that for a while, but at least
Mm-hmm.
the coaches, um, Plum isn't great at tackle, right? And he is a senior, by the way, I think. But
Yeah, but he wasn't playing a lot either.
no, and
know?
so moving Colby inside. They seem to be playing a rotation at guard. I like DeYoung at guard. I thought he played pretty well. Rickman is he's just a placeholder for this year. So as far as how I would grade the O-line on Saturday, Jared, I'd give him an A. Again, only in the context of they.
This is probably their best. This was their best game.
Right.
They gave Spencer more than enough time to find his receivers, and they also gave Spencer room to react when things broke down.
We ran the ball effectively, right? I think we had 160 yards rushing or something to that effect.
Right. We still don't have a 100-yard rusher on the season yet, but we're getting close.
Well,
Caleb Johnson got 88 yards.
I think the reason we don't have a 100-yard rusher, especially after Saturday, is because of the running back by committee, right? I mean, we're given – if we had just run Caleb Johnson for another 5 or 10 carries, he would have easily hit the 100-yard marker. Instead, we're trying to give carries to LaShawn Williams and Gavin Williams and
Right. Well, LaShawn showed – I mean – I'm not a big fan of LaShawn. I think he's a serviceable quarterback, but he did show with blocking that he could gain yardage.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a couple times where they on the replay they'll show you what it looks like from behind. It's a run that he missed the hole. He chose the wrong hole, or he could have broke forever on a couple of them. And also Bruce missed a hole. Bruce decided, I think, to go wider, and if he'd have made a sharp cut, he could have run for a touchdown untouched.
Yeah.
But he decided to go around, and he got caught eventually, but he had a big run there, too, I think, on that one play. But when they showed it on the replay, I'm going, damn, look how wide open he would have been if he'd have just made a cut right there instead of going to the predetermined play that they'd already set up.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when a play breaks down, you got to have eyes and vision as a running back, and that's and Bruce basically he worked as a running back this week more than he did normally.
The other thing too about having 100-yard rusher, again, if you only watch Iowa football and that's all you watch, you're gonna know Iowa football in and out. If you watch a lot of football, and I do, I try to, I want to make sure I say this the way I want it to come out, especially in the run game, because I've heard this. I don't watch or listen to a lot of post game stuff. I already said that, but people saying, well, the run game we didn't. If you take away so and so's 55-yard run, then we only averaged 2.9 yards a carry. I'm just throwing that out.
Mm-hmm.
That's everybody's running game, unless you're Michigan, with Blake Corum, or you're Ohio State, where they're consistently popping off, good size runs. For the most part, pick any random team you want. For the most part, they're running for 2 yards here, 3 yards there, 2 yards. Then all of a sudden, something does pop, right? So the team's in a bad run fit. Next thing you know, somebody breaks one open for a 55-yard touchdown. So this idea that, Iowa didn't have a 100-yard back, and we didn't have, again, it's actually more impressive to me that you see like Caleb had 80 some yards rushing without popping off like a 35-yard run. That means he was consistently hitting 4, 5, 6, 7 yards a pop.
Right, and that's what we need. We just need that, and no, honestly, and the running game I thought really looked good because the O-line looked good. The O-line, I thought for the first time this season, they had their best game. Maybe it was the changes that they made. Maybe it was like, as Coach Hack said all week, that he thinks that Brian had a hand in the O-line this week, along with his normal duties, and that may be true. That may be true. But I would say this: the game didn't lie. It was their best game of the season. Okay, now let's see what we got here. Hopeless optimist. Okay. Mathematically, Iowa can still win the Big West with some outside help. Who can knock off Illinois besides Michigan?
Purdue.
Purdue possibly could. Have they played Purdue yet?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. But look, who's going to knock off Illinois? That really, I think Iowa has to focus on Iowa right now. Yeah, and I'm with as fans, of course, we can kind of look big picture, but yeah, I love it, Jared. I really do, because I'd like to think that we could still win the West. I think that ship kind of sailed on us a little bit, but I'm with you. Hey, go win out and see what happens.
Right, that's what I'm saying. And that's what all Iowa could do right now is win out, get to 8-4, take it one game at a time. I mean, because right now we've got a tough game against Purdue coming up, and I know Coach Hack, he's not here. He would say, no, that's a win. You can lock it in.
Also, I believe
I'm not convinced yet.
I do believe that there is a stat out there. Now, I could be wrong on this. Anybody who's listening, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think there's ever been a team that's won the West that played both Michigan and Ohio State in the same season.
It's kind of hard because it's usually 2 losses.
Right.
It's usually 2 losses. And
I don't
going into this year, I mean, we've all had Iowa pegged to lose to Ohio State. Some of us felt that Michigan was a little vulnerable this year and might be beatable, but they're showing that they might beat Ohio State. And they might tonight when the is it tonight or tomorrow night when the first playoff poll comes out, it might surprise everybody, and both Michigan and Ohio State may be in the top 4.
Oh, I think they will be. I do. I mean, right now my top 4 is probably Tennessee, Ohio State, Michigan, and Georgia. Yep.
Yeah, that would be my top 4 too right now.
And I'm not sure where, with Georgia being the defending national champions, and I get, I don't know. To me, if you're undefeated and you're the defending national champion, you probably ought to be number 1, until proven differently.
Yeah.
We won 10 games last year.
If Michigan hadn't gotten garbage touchdowns at the end, we had a shot against beating Michigan, but we hurt ourselves. We stubbed our own toe. And honestly, you said besides Michigan, who could beat Illinois? Illinois might beat Michigan. That defense is that good. And remember, I think we came the closest so far to beating Michigan this year.
We gave them a little bit of a push. I mean, you look what Michigan did against Penn State a couple weeks ago, and they bullied Penn State. I mean, the score was a lot closer than I mean, Penn State's defense made Michigan settle for red zone field goals and stuff too, but it was like Michigan was physically dominating that Penn State game at the line of scrimmage. So looking at Purdue, any concerns playing against Charlie Jones?
I have an opinion, but you want to give yours?
I'm more concerned about Jeff Brom's scheme than the player we're going against. Because I mean, and this is not a slight against any of the Purdue players or anything like that, but of the guys who have really hurt us, Bell, Rondell Moore, where are they now? I mean, I guess maybe they're in the league, but they're not Randy Moss. We made Bell look like, you know, the man child of Randy Moss and you know, pick any other wide receiver you want. It just we couldn't stop those guys. So it's not Charlie Jones specifically I'm afraid of. It's just that Jeff Brom seems to, and coming off a bye week on top of it, right now he's had kind of 2 weeks to, okay, what fresh hell can I throw at Phil Parker this week?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. As far as Charlie Jones himself, I think Iowa's defense could make it hell on him this week. Remember, they practiced against that guy for 2 years. They know exactly what Charlie's going to do out there, and they'll be ready for Charlie. But at the same time, Charlie's practiced against them too, so he also knows where the weaknesses are on some of these defenders. I would say that both Tyrone and Charlie are probably going to come out fired up. They want to show something against Iowa. I think if they try to force the ball to these guys, Iowa will make them pay. I just don't know, but watching a lot of Purdue this year, they've got other receivers other than Tracy and Charlie Jones. I mean, there have been games where I've watched them where before Charlie got his first pass, that, you know, 3 or 4 other receivers were catching the ball just as fine as well. You know, Aiden O'Connell is a good quarterback, and I'm more worried about him finding the right receivers if he's playing. And he probably is, unfortunately.
Well, you know, but he's also not very mobile. You know, so that's an area where, to Iowa's credit this year, when we faced mobile guys, it hasn't really been a factor in the game, the mobility of the quarterback. And that's the other thing, Iowa fans, we need a mobile quarterback. We need a mobile quarterback. What mobile quarterback really hurt us with their ability to run and scramble this year?
Yeah. Jared, I don't think we'll have any trouble moving the ball. Our problem is going to be, can we stop Purdue from scoring on us?
I disagree. Well,
oh no, go ahead. No, go ahead, Paul. I mean,
well, moving the ball, probably, you know, I think we'll move the ball, but where my concern is settling for 3 in the red zone, not getting red zone touchdowns, because obviously we're not going to try to take anything deep, right? We've proven that. So, and it gets harder. You get down in the red zone, it gets harder to do things in there. So, right. If we're relying on Drew Stevens to win the game, we're going to be in trouble, because Purdue is going to score some points. Our defense is good. They're very good. It would not be it would not be a bad defensive day if Purdue got 17 to 21 points. Can the offense do 17 to 21 points? That's
right. And we showed that this week that they could get 33. They had no help from the defense for points this time. That was all on the offense.
And no help from the punting unit either.
Yeah. He only punted once.
Right.
Oh my God. It's like he punted once for like 12 yards. That poor guy, or 16 yards. That poor guy. I hope that doesn't hurt his national
he lost the
ranking for his Player of the Year award.
There went his Heisman.
Yeah, there goes his, or whatever they call it, the Gordon Award, or whatever they call the punter award.
I think it's like the Ray Guy Award, but
okay, the Ray Guy, whatever it is.
But
let's just hope that didn't cost him. He didn't get a chance to redeem himself in that game.
I will say this. I think, you know, obviously Purdue's defense is better than Northwestern's, because just about everybody's defense is better than Northwestern's. But Purdue is not anywhere close on the level of Illinois, Michigan, Ohio State. So this is still a team that we should, if we can execute the easy stuff. And that's what we saw Saturday, really, especially from Spencer, was we didn't we didn't miss the easy stuff.
Yeah, Jared, I think with any Iowa game, we're always looking, win or lose, we're looking at a low scoring game because the offense, as you saw, we had to hit 4 field goals to add to our 3 touchdowns. And the fact that we actually scored 3 touchdowns Saturday was amazing. It was amazing to actually do that. And we did it with what? At least 1 pass and 2 runs.
I would say this, Jared, if we're not looking at a low scoring game, we're in big trouble because we're not winning any shootouts. So if the game gets into the 30s, we're toast. Absolute toast.
Yeah. Unless we're the one in the 30s and Purdue didn't make it.
The only reason that would be is because of turnovers, defensive, special teams blunders, something that would facilitate that. Because that's what we talked about earlier with Iowa only having 8 possessions for the whole game. This idea that, but the offense really couldn't have done a lot more. You weren't getting into the 50s unless you scored touchdowns, on every possession. So without, getting defensive help.
Right. By the way, they said eight possessions. Did that interception at the close of the first half, did that not count as a possession? Because we possessed the ball after the interception. We just didn't have time to do anything with it. It was the clock expired.
I don't think it counts as a possession because you didn't get to take an offensive snap.
Right. Okay. Got to have an offensive snap first. Yeah. So that was nice to see because I was afraid that Northwestern was going to pull off something they had done in the past after we get a lead. Then they come back and they score a couple of quick touchdowns to close the half off, and then we lose momentum. Then they come back and they win. It was just nice because beating Northwestern anymore used to be a lock. Now it's like, they got a winning record against us since 1995, as they pointed out, and it's just nice because they've had our number for so long that it's nice to beat them, and especially to beat them the way we did.
Absolutely. We got a new comment from Jared.
Oh, okay. Take a look. Byron Ferentz back on the hot seat if the Hawks don't score a touchdown. I'm going to tell you what, he's not going to be on the hot seat ever. Not as long as his dad's the coach. He's the only way he's leaving, and Coach Hack believes that this is how he's leaving, is that he's actually looking for an NFL job. And they said this on the show this Saturday during the game. The announcers did say that rumors are that Brian's looking for an NFL job.
I would say that Brian never left the hot seat, right?
Right, yeah.
I mean, at least from the outside, he's absolutely, his seat's absolutely on fire. And if Iowa doesn't score an offensive touchdown against Purdue, yikes. Because right now there's a lot of Iowa fans that wanted to bitch this week but absolutely couldn't. But right now they're just sitting there, waiting. They're just not at the bit for an I told you so. Here we go again. Fire Brian Ferentz, fire Kirk Ferentz, nepotism, they throw it all out there.
There are fans that are actually rooting for Iowa to lose so they can prove that I'm right and you guys were wrong.
That's right.
I had Iowa like 9-3 to 10-2 originally, but at this point I'm going to take 8-4 and we go to a decent bowl game. Well, we won't go to a decent bowl game. We'll go to a lower tier bowl game, but win that one. We finish the season 9-4. I know I'm looking ahead and it should be one game at a time, but I feel like Iowa can win any of these last games, but also, as it was pointed out yesterday, they could lose all 4 of them too.
The most disappointing thing right now is that we didn't find a way to beat Iowa State, because if we had won that game, all of a sudden, now we're what, 5-3, 5-3 instead of 4-4. We just need one or two wins to really secure a bad bowl, but
yeah.
It's
6-6. We're probably headed to the Pinstripe, or we're headed to Detroit if we still have that ball game in Detroit.
I'm hoping for the Duke's Mayo Bowl. You know, I don't.
Have we played that one yet?
We have. I don't even know if the Big Ten is actually,
Still part of that. Yeah.
But if we could get to 8 wins, what about Vegas?
I would love Vegas. You know why?
Because
I'm a 4 or 5 hour drive. Well, actually, probably closer to 3.5 if it's not for traffic. I've been told that drive can take 8 hours if traffic is really bad, and you blame the people between Los Angeles that drive to Las Vegas. Darn those people! They can fly easier than they could drive, and yet they drive and take up my freeway.
You're right, Jared. The Hawks should score more offensive touchdowns with the remaining teams on the schedule, because I don't think we have any more top 10 defenses we're going to face.
We have one. Minnesota's number 8.
Are they that high?
Yeah, they are that high. I saw the rankings yesterday.
Yeah, but to be fair, as soon as Minnesota runs into anyone with a pulse, they haven't played well. So they've definitely benefited by winning easier football games. Certainly, Minnesota's record would be even worse if they had played Michigan and Ohio State, Penn State.
Yeah,
we didn't play Penn State, but
Jared put up what we kind of put up, the Motor City Bowl and the Pinstripe Bowl. Yeah, that's kind of where I was looking. But if we did win 8 and both Michigan and Ohio State make the playoffs, that pretty much sends Illinois at this point to the Rose Bowl, unless of course the Rose Bowl's hosting the championships this year. I don't know. I don't.
Now let's go back to what Jared had asked. Talking about being the optimist that he is.
Right.
If things fall right, and Iowa wins out and manages to find their way into a rematch in Indianapolis with, the Michigan Ohio State winner, I think there is a rule that the loser of the Big Ten championship game can't fall past the Outback Bowl or maybe the Vegas Bowl. I don't know.
Yeah, it depends. If if the winner of the Big Ten goes to the playoffs, then the loser of the but no, I don't think that's the rule, because didn't we lose one year, but they took another team?
No, I'm saying the loser of the Big Ten West championship can't fall past like the Outback Bowl.
Oh, something like that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But right now, I would say that Illinois has a good, as long as Rose Bowl's not part of the playoffs, they have a good shot of going to the Rose Bowl, because both Michigan and Ohio State have a good shot of making the playoffs. And that would move everybody up a couple of notches. It really would. And that could put Iowa in a semi-decent bowl game. Dean, it won't be a Florida game, but
Dean, you skipped over one of Jared's comments here. There are fans that want to see a complete collapse of the season. To that, I would just say, in my bad impression voice, there's some people that just like to see the world burn, Mr. Wayne. That's what it comes down to.
They want to be right. They want to be right, because they're the ones that have been arguing, and they want to be the ones right at the end of the season and say, "See, we told you so." I'm well aware by reading the message boards and listening to podcasts that there are podcasters out there that can't wait for Iowa to collapse.
Right.
One of them is Corey Brada over at his place. I think it's called the Hawkeye Storm, or Storm of the Hawkeye, or something like that. He basically predicted in the post game that Iowa basically got their last win of the season. We got a podcaster who's rooting for Iowa fan, and yet he's rooting for them to have a total collapse of the season.
Jared's next question: what non-Big Ten teams would you like to see the Hawks play. I'd like to see them play Notre Dame. I mean, it's been far too long.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they're a regional team. I'd like to see us get to play against them. Um, Being a Navy veteran, I'd love to see us play the service academies. We haven't got to see that option offense since Georgia Tech, in the Orange Bowl. So I think it'd be fun to bring in a service academy.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'm going to get my wish on mine. Mine was USC and UCLA in Los Angeles. I'm going to get my wish very soon. Hopefully, I'm still healthy enough that I can travel to those games. And that's the reason why I wanted to see those games, is because I wanted to be able to travel and see my Hawkeyes in person. And what a treat that's going to be able to watch the Hawkeyes inside the Rose Bowl beat UCLA.
Outside of, I'd also like to see us, get it. We did this back in the 90s when Miami was good. They haven't been good in a long time, but get a home and home against the U, to be able to come back to South Florida, to be able to try to open up more recruiting roads down here. There is some intrigue, or you get that, or even against FSU or Florida, maybe not so much Florida, but just to be able to have those home and home series with another Power 5 team in a fertile recruiting ground. I'd like to see that.
Right. Casey says that Michigan will be in the Rose Bowl because of Ohio State in the playoffs. Actually, you're probably right. It'll either be Ohio State or Michigan. But my theory, I was going on the possibility if they both make the playoff, which is a very, very, very strong possibility of both getting in there.
What it's gonna come down to is, Georgia and Tennessee, I think, play this week, and so does
one of them got a, one of them are they, and that's another scenario where the loser of this game necessarily didn't play themselves out of the playoffs.
Right. Depends. Right now,
are they in the same division?
Yes,
they are.
They are.
So they are, and so this is one of those situations where a non-division winner could actually, a non-division person who didn't play in the title game could possibly end up in the playoffs. That's happened before.
Yeah, Tennessee, escaped. They beat Alabama in the best of circumstances, at home at night, and 52-49 and everything. Do we see that kind of game, this week in Georgia, Tennessee? Does one or the other, look better than the other team? So, and unfortunately, Jared, I see your comment there about no Bama. Look, the winner of this Georgia Tennessee game is going to play Bama in the championship game, and if Bama wins, that one-loss Bama team is definitely getting in. And now,
so Alabama escapes playing Georgia this year
in the regular season. They're in different divisions.
That's too bad, because one more loss for Bama would knock them out, and we could assure it.
See, in the SEC, they do the protected rivals thing, and I'm not sure who Georgia's protected rivals for the West are. I know, like Florida, for instance, their protected rival is LSU. I'm not sure who. I think Georgia's might be Auburn. It is what it is.
Yeah. We don't really have a protected on the other side, on the east side.
It was not set up that it was under that Legends and Leaders. Remember, our protected rival was Purdue.
Right.
We hated Purdue.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
We hate them now.
Well, we will see them less after starting in the 2024 season, because rumors are they're going to break up the divisions and just have a. Can you see that though? 1 to 16, 16 teams playing, or are we still at 14? We'll be at 14. What are we at now?
Right now,
14? Huh?
Oh, you mean in the conference?
Yeah, we're at 14. So we're going to be at 16 in 2 years, and 1 through 16. You know how hard it is going to be to crack up there, be the top 2 teams in the division.
Well, I think the biggest thing you're going to see on that is, you're going to not be playing teams for, look how long it took us to play Ohio State again after the last time we played them, which was 2017, 5 years. That's what you're going to see even more is, who knows, how often are we going to see a Rutgers or Maryland or, apparently Penn State's going to just stay on the schedule forever for whatever reason.
I know. Does that bother you that, we had Penn State for 6 or 7 years in a row?
It does bother me.
And then they take 1 year off, and now they're back.
They're just right back on the schedule.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't you like to see us play at some of the other teams over on that side?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I would.
I mean,
I don't want to. I don't want to play at the Big House or play at the Shoe, but honestly, it's at least. I'm just tired of playing Penn State.
Yeah, me too. And we don't get any more. Like you said, we don't hardly ever get Ohio State. That's a once in a lifetime experience. It seems like or at least for the kids that play, because they well, I think the 2017 was the last time we actually played them. There's a whole group of kids who've not played Ohio State at all.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, anybody who is currently on this team, I don't think was on the roster that the last time we had played Ohio State.
If they were redshirted, freshmen.
COVID year seniors or something, but
something like that too. But don't forget that the COVID year 2020, we were scheduled to play Ohio State. They removed them from our schedule, thank God.
What's Jared's next comment here?
Something about his issue with expanding, if you can read that.
Not all teams playing each other. Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. And now, like we were saying, it's good. It's only going to make the time longer between, actually seeing people within your own conference. Maybe they'll try to write in some scheduling rule where you can't go more than 4 years without playing everyone in the conference. I don't know how they'll figure that out. But I have to see them if they're going to expand the playoff to 12 teams and they're going to do all these different things. They're going to have to shorten the regular season to do this. And, with the conference realignments.
You notice after the 2024 season, Iowa State is not on the schedule anymore.
I was just going to say, I think what we're going to see that unless Iowa State finds their way into the Big Ten, I don't see that series continuing.
No, and I agree with you there because, we've always traditionally, they've left open the second week of the schedule for Iowa State. If you look at the future schedules, a couple of those future schedules, although they're not done with non-conference, the week that they would normally pencil in Iowa State, somebody else has penciled in already.
Yeah, but
they're not admitting it, but I think the Iowa State series is done.
Yeah. Well, by the way, if you're a few years down the road here, but if you're the Cheez-It Bowl, all of a sudden Iowa State looks like an attractive game, right? Because now you have a chance to fill your stadium, which your sponsor likes that. It's going to look good on TV. So I mean, dropping them from the regular doesn't mean that Iowa and Iowa State couldn't. It's more likely we'd see them in a bowl game, and that could be fun. That could be a lot of fun. I'd rather play the Iowa State game at the end of the year in a bowl game and on a neutral field. Iowa fans getting to travel to
Iowa taking over one of the cities.
Correct.
State of Iowa taking it over.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. But we don't have any. Do we have any big bowls with Big 12 tie-ins?
We do.
We do.
I think we do, but and of course with the expanded playoff, maybe what we end up seeing is bowls that aren't affiliated with the playoff go back to the way they used to do it, where they could just invite right? Like maybe it
Right.
wasn't affiliation, but the Gator Bowl can go out and say, hey, this is the best matchup that we can get, and they go and invite teams. What was I going to say?
I did want to say something to Jared's comment real quick about the more regular season bowl games. I mean, games. With the expanded playoffs, you're not going to see that. Obviously, and Paul, you said they maybe shorten it, but I don't think they're going to shorten the games either. Because I think right now the current plan with the plan that they put in place, I don't think anything is concrete. Is that the national title game would be played the week before the Super Bowl game?
I was just thinking that, I mean, if you're going to have an expanded playoff, for the teams that make it through, that's an extra 2 or 3 games. I can't imagine that they're going to want these college teams playing 15, 16 games. So my guess would be, for the most part, you're going to drop non-conference games and you're going to play maybe 10 conference games, and that's going to be your season.
Yeah. Somebody said to me on one of the Facebook posts that they thought they were going to go to 10 games, which would drop. That would definitely kill the Iowa State game. Because Iowa wants those 2 should win games first.
Oregon, Washington joined the Big Ten. Yeah, you know what? Maybe I think they are going to wait and see what happens with UCLA and USC, right? Especially once they start seeing the kind of paydays that they're going to get from our TV revenue and things like that. And yeah, absolutely. I could see them, this thing ain't done. That's for sure.
Right. How do you feel about playing just 2 non-conference games? Well, that would mean that we have to play 10 conference games until the Pac-12 and the SEC decide that they're going to play more than 8 games, which neither one of them play more than 8. I don't think we should. I think we should go back to 8 games until they're willing to match us game for game. Because right now it hurts our playoff chances because we play one more game than they do. You know, that's how Bama escapes Georgia and Tennessee in 1 year easily.
Right?
Because they don't play each other nothing. So those teams get the cupcakes that are on the other side of the schedule plus their division.
2 weeks from now, a week before the end of the year, instead of us getting a Georgia-Bama matchup, you're going to have Bama playing Furman and Georgia playing, Coastal Southeast South Carolina School of the Blind. That's how they do things.
That's another thing too. Is they had those little non-conference cupcakes in the middle of their season
at the ass end of the season.
Yeah, and to kind of give the teams a breather, I think, on purpose. So the SEC keeps winning. Well, one of them wins. I mean, ACC's gotten their share with Clemson, but SEC keeps winning because their schedule is set up for it.
Yeah,
it's set up to put sometimes 2 teams in there into the playoffs just so how it goes. I get frustrated with the SEC, but like I think Oklahoma is going to learn. Like they're having a rough year this year. I think they're going to learn it's going to get rougher over there.
How do we do on our picks this week, Dean?
Let's talk about our picks. Okay. We did 4 college and 2 NFL games.
Wait a minute. Before you go off on the picks, let me just remind everybody about Terry Sensi. We've got the link there. It'll be in the comments and everything. Check out her page. This is my victory against Northwestern. I'm melting the purple this week. As you can see, I actually am using it. We're melting the purple.
By the way, what's it smell like?
It smells really good. The flavor of this it's a black raspberry vanilla.
Okay.
And what it really smells like is just one of the freshest, cleanest scents you've ever smelled in your life. Yeah. I absolutely mean that 100%. Fellas, The women go crazy for this stuff. I'm telling you.
Great
Check out
Christmas
the
gift,
page.
guys.
Great
Yeah.
gifts. Great gifts. Great stocking stuffers. These things, the women love them. They love them. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. Check them out.
Well, okay. All right. So going to the picks. On the college picks, I was perfect.
Let's just stick to the college picks.
Yeah. Well, okay. We'll do that. Okay. I'm the only one who picked Notre Dame, who believed in Notre Dame, and Notre Dame, I think, did it rather easily, if I'm not mistaken.
They. By the way, this is a Syracuse team that beat Purdue earlier in the year.
Right. Okay. Ohio State. We all picked Ohio State. Jason and me picked Kansas State. You went against us and picked Oklahoma State. Kansas State won the game.
Without their quarterback, without Adrian Martinez.
Right. Okay. We all picked Illinois. And we forgot to pick the Iowa game, so unfortunately the Iowa game doesn't get there. Although all three of us would have picked Iowa anyway.
Correct.
So it doesn't really change anything.
Yeah. Easy to say after the fact, but I had Iowa winning big. 33-13.
Okay. So Jason went 3-1 yesterday. You went 2-2, and I went 4-0 this week on my college picks.
I just can't get it together this year on the college picks, man. I just don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know why y'all listen.
Yeah. Jason picked the Broncos because he's a Broncos fan and actually didn't believe they would actually win the game. He thought they would lose it, but he picked them anyway because he didn't want to pick against them. You picked the Jags because you're a Jag fan, and well, tell me what happened because with that game being on ESPN Plus, I didn't have a clue.
The Jaguars dominated the game early, and in fact, coming out of the gate, they had 12 first downs before Denver had 1. But again, the Jaguars failed to get it done in the red zone. If this sounds familiar to anybody, just let me know. The defense was playing outstanding. They turned Russell Wilson over. They started with great field position. And then, inexplicably, Trevor Lawrence, he's rolling to the right. There's nothing there. He decides he's going to throw the ball, and there was a defender standing right there, and he caught it, touchback instead of touchdown or throw it away. Jaguars struggled in the red zone, settled for field goals or turned the ball over instead of getting touchdowns. And the game ended up 21-17. And yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't know why they do that. I don't like the fact that they did that. Most interesting game of the day for me was the 49ers at the Rams, which the 49ers came back and won after. They won big. Yeah, they won big after getting off to a slow start, but once they got rolling, they couldn't be denied. Them signing Christian McCaffrey, he was their Mr. Everything, just like you would expect him to be. I had him for a couple seasons in my draft, in my you call it fantasy league. He never hurt me. He never failed me.
Yeah.
Okay, we should probably, because we're well over an hour now, we should probably end this because we know that people don't want to sit and watch us for an hour.
All right.
Guys, I want to thank Jared and Casey for being there. And
hey, you guys really ran the show today, so thank you.
Yeah. You guys, that's what we want. We want you guys to be on here, and hopefully others come on here. Run the show for us. Ask your questions, make your comments, and drive the show. That's what we're looking for. Please, guys, share this. If you're not already subscribing to us on this YouTube channel, please subscribe, but also share it with your friends and let them know that we're the best Hawkeye podcast group out there. I wish Coach Hack could have been here today. Hopefully he'll be here Friday.
Thanks, Jared.
Yeah.
Like us, share the video. Share the Facebook page. With people, in your friends list. Invite them to join. We're getting close to 5,000 members, and we certainly want to drive people to the page. We want to drive participation, and you know, I don't have any problem if any of you guys want to jump on the show at any time. We'd love to have you. Right? I mean, we're just guys that want to sit around and talk Hawkeyes. That's it.
Right.
So
just tell us, and we'll send you an email link to the email to get on.
You guys can come on and argue with Coach Hack.
Yeah, there you go. Coach Hack would love it. That would make his day. How happy birthday to your son, Jared. How old is he today?
Absolutely. Happy birthday.
Let's see if Jared types an age here real quick for us.
Oh, he's a Halloween baby too.
Yeah.
He gets a lot of candy for his birthday, though.
Happy Halloween, everybody! Wow, we should have dressed up in costumes today. We could have dressed like Purdue Boilermakers.
Oh.
Purdue week. It's Purdue week.
I would have brought my hammer, but people might have took that as a weird joke. That no.
All right.
He's 5. Awesome.
He's awesome. 5. Well, tell him we said happy birthday and go give him a good Halloween birthday.
That's the Drew Tate birthday. So yeah.
Is Drew Tate a Halloween baby too?
No, number 5.
Oh, number 5. Got it.
Or the Cedric Shaw.
I'm not wearing my number 5 jersey today. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to get out. Thank you guys for helping us drive the show today. We appreciate it. Again, please share and subscribe. And we're getting close to 200 subscribers. Help us get to at least 200. And our ultimate goal is to get to 1,000. And so every time you push that smash that subscribe button, it helps us get closer. But it also helps when you share it. You have to share it to your friends, family, even share it to your Cornhusker and Cyclone friends, because they'll get a kick out of our show too.
Right. If you can't be an athlete, be an athletic supporter.
There you go. Out. Let's go. Thank you guys for your participation.
Hi, Terry.
Bye, Terry. Hi, Terry. I actually sent her a link hoping she would jump on today, but she didn't.